You are listening to the Fast Track Your Fashion Brand podcast, episode number 88. Today on the show, we are going to be talking to one of our mastermind members, the owner and creator of ISAMAR. So let's get started. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Nicole.
Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers at home?
Perfect. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's amazing to have somebody in person here at the podcast because we just started filming it. So this is like a new next chapter for us and to show your beautiful designs so everybody can see it in person.
Thanks so much. And it really feels like a full circle moment because when I started working with you, I was listening to your podcast. I just had them on repeat, trying to learn about the industry. So thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, but it's perfect because you got a lot of exciting stuff that's about to happen.
Yeah, it does feel good reflecting back on that. And so I'm Monica Ghiglia. I am the founder and CEO of ISAMAR Collection. We are a travel inspired resort wear brand. And I'm just so excited to be here with my personal coach, Nicole, and just excited to talk about the journey and where we are today.
Yeah, and we've had so many different milestones and I'm like, I gotta have Monica on. I want to talk about her photo shoot. Wait, I gotta have Monica on. I want to talk about her soft launch. So there are so many milestones that you have gone through to get to where you are, where you're on the brink, like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to official um your official big launch that maybe you can talk a little bit more about in a minute. So
Great.
we're gonna get into that. So why don't you bring everybody back to where it all started? Like, where did this idea for Isamar come from? What was that aha moment where you're like, it's the moment where you're like, you have the idea, but then you're like, I'm gonna take action on it. Because I think a lot of people have ideas,
Yeah.
but they are saying, I'm not going to do it yet, or that's a silly idea. Like, what was that moment for you?
Yeah. So, just to put it into a little bit of context, because I think most people, when you hear about my background, are a little bit shocked that I'm doing this, that at this point in my life and career, I'm starting a brand because this is not my original journey. But just to take you way back to the beginning, I do come from a very creative entrepreneurial home. So, my dad is an urban designer, and my mom actually had her own business as well, where she imported tapestries from indigenous groups in Mexico. So I had very entrepreneurial parents, very creative parents. So I grew up around that mentality that you can follow your dreams and create and build businesses on your own. So while I didn't take that original path, I think that was just always in my heart, and I always had that desire to build something of my own. So my career is I'm actually a immigration attorney. So that was my original track, law school right out of college, and then went right into that career path. And it's something that I do love, and I really appreciate everything that it's given me, and it has contributed very much to what I've grown with my brand. But there really was that calling and that desire to build something on my own and have more of that creative outlet as well. So I would say that that aha moment happened for me. I always had kind of that thought of building something on my own, but that creative, that aha moment really happened when I was on vacation with my family. So, as you know, I have two young girls, and my husband and I have a passion for travel. So, he's actually a photographer. He was originally a surf photographer. And when we started dating, he was traveling all over the world. So, travel and global cultures are a huge part of our passion and heart. So we were with our daughters on vacation, actually in Hawaii, and I, had really been thinking hard about what I wanted that creative outlet to be. And just being on the beach, being in the water, I thought, wouldn't it be so cool to build a travel inspired resort wear brand where a mom could have that one swimsuit and that one cover up dress that could take her all the way through vacation. I remember packing for that trip, and I had two little girls, all the baby items that I had to pack, my own things. I just remember feeling really limited on what I could bring on that trip. And I really wanted to have, that piece that I could wear to the beach as my cover up dress, that I could wear to brunch maybe, and then to cocktails and dinner, just something that could carry me through to whatever opportunity and adventure might arise on my vacation. So that's really where that initial aha moment happened.
I love that. I think as you're building a brand and you're realizing the struggle that happens to you personally, that's how a lot of great ideas are born. And it's figuring out what that solution was. So then what became your solution?
So my solution was, well, there were a few problems. Obviously, the problem of not having the right piece when you're packing for vacation and having to pack a lot of different pieces that may not work well together, may not be very versatile. And in looking for cover ups, for example, it's really hard to find a cover up that's not see through. Maybe you're wearing it to the beach, but then can you wear that item to dinner? So that was important to me. I wanted fabric that wasn't completely sheer, but that still felt very luxurious and lightweight, but could give you that coverage. So you could also wear it as a dress. And then versatility. So I wanted it to be versatile. So the pieces, my first signature piece is something that you could wear as a robe, as a cover up, as a dress. You can wear it buttoned all the way up. You could wear it maybe even buttoned halfway. You could have it a higher cut or a lower cut, a removable belt, sleeves that you could wear up or down. So I really wanted to add that versatility. And then third, I wanted something that was timeless. So something that wasn't going to just be good for one vacation and then you never want to wear it again. That was more of,
I
that
hate
kind of,
that.
yeah, right? It's
Like I was just on vacation in Maui over the break, and now I'm packing for a Mexico vacation. So I'm definitely going to be bringing an
yay.
ISAMAR
I can't wait
dress.
to see it on
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're kind of almost like, well, I already wore that, or it didn't work for me, or I only could use it as a cover up, or I couldn't transition it because I was actually changing a lot
Yeah.
from, even though we were still like hanging out by the pool and having cocktails, I kind of felt like I needed to like have a different outfit
Yeah.
later on. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to see that transition happen for me on vacation. Why don't we pull one
Sure. Yeah,
and see
absolutely.
which one you want to show off now? And we can kind of talk also about this first print because this is like
Ooh,
your
yeah.
first print that you launched with.
Yes. So this is the blue Atomi print. And this is a good example of the inspiration behind the brand. Being a travel inspired brand, I want each collection to represent or pay respect to a different place in the world, kind of creating that wanderlust vibe and, carrying that through the prints. So this print is, a hand designed print, and it's in the Atomi design that's very popular in Mexico with artisans. So it's also that classic blue and white
Here, hand me
color.
the swimwear.
Oh, yeah.
That way we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
That people can really see
Thank
the button detail.
So here it is. It also has the hand embroidery you can see in a few select places. And because these are all handmade, they're one of a kind. So the embroidery is unique on each piece, which is pretty fun to have a one of a kind piece. And then you have the belt with the little tassel finishes, which I love.
I love that.
It's, kind of cute and playful. And you could wear it with or without the belt, and you can see the buttons go all the way down.
And the sleeves were really important to you too. That was like a big design detail that I remember going through all the sampling. It just wasn't coming out right. It wasn't coming out right.
Yes, the sleeves were a labor of love. I wanted them to be, comfortable, where you're not having to deal with fussy buttons or anything like that. It's a simple wear it all the way down or push it up, and it's, ruched with elastic. So very comfortable and very versatile.
Yeah, and I do like the bottom of it because it's not dragging on the floor. It's not a midi, but it's not a maxi. It's kind of at the right length. And then the way that the bottom layer is cut, it gives it like a little bit of a flare,
Yes.
like a ruffle, but it's not overly done. So there's a lot of movement when you're wearing this dress. And it's super soft.
It
Super,
is.
super soft.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're wearing a robe.
When you were going through the sampling phase, you can hang it back up if you want. But when you were going through the sampling phase, I feel like we have to get into the details of this
Sure.
because it's one of the most challenging. It's probably one of the most discouraging.
Oh,
Got it. One of the most discouraging parts because so first off, you originally had worked with a designer to do like a basic outline and you had multiple styles.
yeah.
Which I find that a lot of brands that I start to work with, they have a really, really big idea. They have all these different styles. But I think the moment when you were going through this process, you realized one is the best option to launch with.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, Nicole, I'm so grateful. Once I started working with you, you really helped me pare down my collection because I was going in a lot of directions at once. And especially being new to the industry, a new brand owner, there's so much that you have to do to set your brand up for success. And I'm so grateful for that advice to really hone in on your signature piece and really make it the best that it can be, because when you're going to launch your first product, you want to, have 100% certainty in that product. You want to believe in that 100% and have it be something that stands the test of time too, because you're putting so much work into it. So I'm really grateful that with your help, I really started to kind of focus my energy on that.
I get so much resistance, which I completely understand why. Because if I'm working with a brand and they have, so many beautiful ideas and they feel like, no, I need to launch with a lot or else it won't seem like much. But I always look at it at exactly like you want to be able to market this
Yeah.
to the specific person that's going to buy it. Now, if you're marketing and you have swimwear, and we'll definitely get into that, but if you're marketing the dress, that's also a romper. That's also the maxi. Then there's the midi. Those are different customers.
Yes.
The
Yes.
girl that's going to buy the romper, the girl that's going to buy the short set or the long maxi, more than likely it's a different customer. More than likely one customer say, "Oh my gosh, I'm looking for a maxi, but the romper's cute,
Yeah.
but it's not enough to solve my problem because I need the thing that's going to open and close and act like a cover up, so I think identifying what your standout style is
Yes.
from the beginning to sell the product. I'm not saying that your brand has to look
No.
like this, like a skeleton brand. It is identifying what are you going to launch with to get your message across of your three things, your versatility, your timeless, like all of that stuff is so important because then the next style, people are going to trust your product and you're going to deliver, if not the same, but more superior quality. And that would be my goal
Yeah.
for anyone. And you invest, I mean, give me a rough idea how much one sample is so people understand.
I mean, it's 200, 250 with embroidery. And that's just
That's
one round.
one round.
One
And
round, not to
to
mention.
get to this round, I think maybe because you were trying Bali, you tried
had
local.
maybe 5 rounds, I would say, actually. And we were
Yeah.
able to cut down some of those by going with some of the Clo 3D modeling. That helped a lot. But
Yeah.
you're right. And you're also refining your brand's vision and mission, and really what you want your brand to represent as you're going through the design process. You kind of go into it thinking one thing, and then as you start building that signature product, I think you're really honing in on that. And so if you don't focus on that signature product, then you might have a collection that's kind of all over the place and not cohesive. So I'm grateful to have gone through that exercise so that I'm just a lot more focused on what that is as I'm looking towards future collections and, future designs.
Yeah. And another thing I think when you're trying to figure out what styles to launch with, if you find your one thing, the signature style, you also have to times that by how many colorways you're going to do, how many sizes you're going to go with. So before you know it, you have 3 colorways, 5 sizes. Did you offer it in 5 sizes?
Yes.
5 sizes. So 5 times 3 times your inventory. That's a lot of inventory.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of units. It's a
Yes.
lot of stuff that's just going to be sitting there in your warehouse or your garage or wherever you're going to be shipping from for a while until you get in the rhythm of selling. Now, if you want to launch a lifestyle brand with multiple styles, you're probably going to be launching more in the fast fashion route.
Right. Right.
Where you have to constantly be turning over styles, turning over colors, new drops, new prints, all that stuff on the regular, and that gets very expensive
Yeah.
very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then what I love about having a standout style is she's going to now repeat this style multiple times because she's invested the money in it in multiple different colorways. Maybe you're going to go solid, maybe you're going to do new embroidery or something else, but that style is timeless.
Yes.
And will last you probably throughout your entire life of your brand.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to have gone through that process and honed in on that,
Mhm.
because even from a marketing perspective, when I was thinking about the other pieces I wanted to, create and market, that marketing messaging was really difficult, especially when you're starting out and you're just building your following. It's, better to start out with that one piece that you can market very specifically.
Mhm.
So from a marketing perspective, I think that was really helpful too.
Yeah. So let's talk about your soft launch
Okay.
because this wasn't exactly planned.
No, it was a pivot. It was a pivot.
It was a big pivot.
Yeah.
So we've been working for a while, and the thought of launching was always, okay, we're going to launch in 3 months. We're going to launch. Okay, the date is April. The date is June. And then all of a sudden you realize the pieces aren't in play yet.
Yes.
So tell us about what your original plan was for your launch when you started to feel like, okay, I can set a date, and then what happened. And it was literally in a course of 2 weeks where we made that pivot happen.
Yes. It's one of those moments that I'm grateful for now, but at the time felt very overwhelming and scary. But my original plan was I was going to release my full collection via a Kickstarter launch. So utilizing the Kickstarter platform, we did a photo shoot, a video shoot to prepare for that Kickstarter launch. And then as the date started to get closer, I was planning on doing that in the fall.
Move that a little closer to you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was planning on doing the Kickstarter in the fall, but as that date came closer, I heard from my manufacturing partner that unfortunately, based on what they had in their pipeline, they would not be able to even manufacture my pieces until the following year. So, or, closer to the end of the year, and I wouldn't be receiving pieces until the end of 24. So that was not really aligned with what I had planned on for my Kickstarter.
You wanted to launch in August. Was that the original date, or was it?
I was going to launch closer to September.
Okay, so September 2024.
Correct. September 2024. But unfortunately, that just didn't align with the manufacturer. And I think that highlights an issue that a lot of small brands face. So because I'm a new small brand, I think, lower on the totem pole of, their pipeline. They have to honor the demands of their larger clients and get those in. And also, they're getting orders so far in advance. And, while I had already let them know that this would be coming, I didn't, have that order ready to give them yet. So of course, they're going to put their larger clients with larger orders ahead of me. So it's just one of the struggles of being a small new brand.
It's a dance.
It really is.
You are dancing around trying to have a factory take you seriously.
Yes.
That is like step one.
Yes.
Are you a serious customer? Yes. Are you going to pay for samples? Are you going to pay, are you going to be able to meet our demands as the factory? And then you're hoping that they meet your demands as the brand.
Right.
That's one of the most challenging. Putting your trust into a factory is probably the hardest thing.
It's very hard. It's very scary, but you're right. It's a two-way street. It's a partnership. And of course, like any business, they're going to want to work with brands that are professional, responsible, following through on their timelines because, we both have business needs to meet, and it's hard. It's difficult when you're a new brand and you're new to the industry and learning what those timelines look like.
So once you heard that they weren't going to be able to meet your needs of delivery, what did we talk about? What
Called
happened?
you in a panic. And Nicole said, "Call. It's okay. We'll figure out a solution." And you had the great suggestion of doing a soft launch to friends and family and launching with just one colorway, which
Mhm.
isn't something I had thought of, but it really was one of those blessings in disguise situations because I was able to pull together in 2 weeks. Luckily, I had the content from the video shoot, which was geared towards the full
Mhm.
collection, but I was able to pull that together, build the website, build out with your help some marketing strategy, emails, and social content, and pull it together with the help of Nicole, family, and friends. We made it happen and was able to do that soft launch. I think it was one of those things where it's very scary to launch. And I kept, to be quite frank, pushing out my Kickstarter date and pushing things off. And this really gave me that finality because the factory said, if you want something before year end, you need to have it to us by this date. So I had to get the order in. And it gave me that push I needed to get over the fear, that imposter syndrome, and just go for it. And it was so exciting.
I was so
Just,
proud of
yeah,
you.
thank you.
Because
Yeah.
we don't live. This is so cool having her,
Yes.
first of all, like
Yeah.
here live in person to be able to talk to you about this, but we're just on Zoom.
Yes.
So we are, taking over the world, the fashion industry over
Absolutely.
Zoom. So then when
Absolutely.
I see Monica actually doing the things on Instagram and her showing up and her doing face to camera videos, which at the beginning, she never did that before
No,
because
no.
we were, still in the building stage of the brand and it wasn't quite ready to say, hey, here's my launch date. So it was like that trigger of 2 weeks, but you had all the assets,
I
which is
did.
probably the most important piece to this. I think your photo shoot was a huge
Huge.
moment that you're like, okay, this is real. My
Absolutely.
samples are here. My photos look beautiful. You had a videographer that just I mean,
He was
that really
amazing.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Like
he
he's
was amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um and you had all the pieces to play around with strategy.
Yes.
If you don't have the assets, it's really really hard. So a lot of times like people are like, "Oh, how do I launch a brand?" And I'm like, even if you're not ready with a sample or a date or the money, you can do so much of the behind the scenes legwork.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you're a full-time, lawyer.
Yes.
You are a full-time mom, wife.
Yeah.
Those little things that you accomplished every week probably didn't feel like much, but it led you up to what you were able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And it can feel so overwhelming when most entrepreneurs are wearing a lot of hats, and oftentimes they have to keep their day job or, they love, if they're like me, they still love their day job. And you're trying to also fund your new business. And it's challenging, but I think you nailed it. It's just these little steps that add up into something big. And it's so easy to get caught up in the moment and think that I'm not getting enough done every week, looking at the to-do list that's growing like a mountain. And with your own business, there's no stopping point. There's always more that you can be doing. So it's easy to feel defeated. But for me, even if it was just one baby step, one email I was sending to further my goal, just something I was doing every day, that really started to build that momentum. And then I think once I got to the photo shoot stage, got to the stage of my soft launch, it all started to pay off, and you started to reap the rewards of those baby steps you took for many years.
Yeah, and I mean that was initially why I wanted to do the weekly mastermind group
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people don't have the time. And it's hard to self-motivate, especially if you've never done like a solopreneur career. It's extremely hard to get yourself, okay, today I'm going to make that email. Today I'm going to make the website. Today I'm going to finalize my design. But every week you're like depositing like 1 hour of your time to meet with me, to get your homework assignment or prepare, or sometimes you wouldn't do it because you don't have the time. And that
Yeah.
hour was dedicated for you to accomplishing
Yeah.
one thing and it made like all the difference. So everyone's probably dying. What did you sell? How much did you make? Because we love to talk about numbers.
Yeah. So I received about 79 orders,
Wow.
or, sold about 79 pieces. And I think maybe it was around 50 orders actually. I was blown away. It was a 5-day sale. As I mentioned, I didn't have a lot of lead time. Luckily, Nicole had helped with a lot of social media content at my shoot, which was so helpful. It was a lifesaver for that. Um, and then I think I sold about $8,000 worth of product, which was just felt very exciting and made it real. Um,
No, but
yeah,
you hit the
I hit my
9K.
goal.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it 9K?
it
Because
was
what
just under 9K.
just under
Yeah.
9K. So how much was it for you to fund your production, this first production of the blueprint?
So there were, some unexpected duties and shipping costs. So when you add that all up, it was closer to about 5K to fund, maybe a little bit more than that because of, some of those shipping and,
Yeah.
and duty fees. But yeah, it
But
worked
that's
out.
incredible.
It was. Yeah.
It's not like you're, like the next millionaire, but
No, no, that all went right back into the business.
but it goes back
Yeah.
into the business, but that's how it starts. And the reason I loved the fact that you got to do the soft launch is one, you got to validate
Yeah.
this idea. You didn't wait till you had all your inventory in. I mean, that would have been an even bigger financial risk. I mean, every decision, every moment you spend in your business is a little bit of financial risk. Like, is it going to work? Am I going to sell? Am I going to make my money back? Like, those are things we don't know. But to have a more calculated strategy of a pre-sale,
Yeah.
I think was super smart and it worked.
Yeah, I agree. The soft launch, it was so beneficial in a lot of ways. It built that momentum. It really helped me build more of a following because even though I'd been talking about it to friends and family, it wasn't real yet. I hadn't
Mhm.
really engaged them yet. And that, opportunity pushed me to engage them. They became more invested in the brand. They purchased the pieces. And then getting to the point where I received my orders and
Mhm.
now getting to see my friends and family wearing the pieces, it just makes all of that hard work worthwhile.
So to recap what the strategy was, it was to focus on the blue Atomi.
Yes.
It was the dress and then the swimsuit in
Swimsuit.
2 colorways. So
Yes.
I don't know, maybe we could talk about the swimsuit because that was
Sure.
something else that kind of came about. Wasn't the original plan for the brand, but it made sense to include swim with it.
Yes. So exactly. I was designing the resort wear pieces, but especially because I'm very print driven in my collection, I think it was important to incorporate swim. And something that I did want to do at some point, but once the collection started to come together, I thought it would be better to give that complete look, to give that one complete look someone could purchase, and even have the matching bag as well, so they can pair the swimsuit, which is the exact match. I also have it in the print and be able to have that full vacation look ready to go. So
Which I still think you could have just launched with the dress.
absolutely,
But
yeah,
I think it was when you got to the photo, when you're getting ready for the photo shoot, and then
yes,
you realized, I think I want to add swim. This was probably a few months prior.
yes.
We had to find another factory, totally different country, a lot of
Yeah.
crazy issues with that.
Yes.
But you gave people a choice to make the look come together, not with the kid stuff. So that's something that you're waiting on. I'd love to get into that. But what was the piece that sold the most?
The piece that actually surprised me that sold the most was the bag. That was also a last minute addition to the collection. And I'm realizing, something that I really want to focus on for future collections is fit, really showing the fit of both the dress and the swimsuit. And then I also
Mhm.
have the wrap. That was a high seller because it's easy. It's going to fit. It's a travel wrap that's one size fits all. The bag, it's a great gift piece, one size fits all. And I
Mhm.
think because I'm a new brand, people haven't been able to see things in person yet and try them on. It's a little scary buying a swimsuit that you don't know exactly how it's
Mhm.
going to look on your body. So I really do want to showcase it on, models and,
Which I think that
be able to
there's a
showcase
full
it moving
marketing
forward.
plan around just
Yeah.
that one style. Like there is a whole other launch that's
Absolutely.
around the suit. And it wasn't that you just launched with one style. You put your focus and your marketing efforts towards the messaging of the Wonderluxe dress.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
where the majority of the first interest came. It wasn't like, here, everyone, here's my first collection and it's blue and white.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it was focusing on the dress of what that potentially could do. And then all these other things of your signature style being versatile, timeless, started to incorporate, oh, but I want a bag. Or people that maybe couldn't wear the dress, they wanted to gift the bag. I love the idea of the bag. I think it's super smart. I made bags. I sold a ton of bags because it's an easy sale. It's an easy upsell. It's an
Yeah.
easy, oh, I could gift that. I could give that to
Exactly.
my friend. I can give it to my mom who's not going to wear, the one piece, but maybe she'll wear, something else. Like it's a smart product to add in.
I agree. And it really did help supplement, for a new brand where, like I said, people don't know the fit. It's easy to supplement
Mm-hmm.
into your collection. So, absolutely.
So what do you have coming up in 2 weeks now? What's coming up?
So, that Kickstarter campaign that I thought I was going to launch in the fall is finally ready to go. So, I'm looking towards that in a few weeks. Really excited to see what that's going to look like. I'm really hoping to, of course, build from my community that I've built with ISAMAR and also pull from the Kickstarter community. That's a powerful place of people that like to support new brands. And I'm excited to see what comes from that. So,
What I love about Kickstarter is you have to have your ish together. Like
oh, yeah. Yeah.
you can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to do a Kickstarter," and then throw something up like
No.
whatever. It is a full branding download of what is your brand, how are you going to talk about your brand. It's not about building a website, but you're trying to take people through a lot of messaging
Yes.
and images of what this product is or what it could be. Because some people launch with not even having a sample, they just have a
Right.
rendering, which is still extremely powerful. But you can't press go and they don't just accept anyone. You can't just throw something random up
No.
because tell them what happened.
Yeah. So even with my Kickstarter, which I have been working on for many, many months and gearing up for over a year, actually, just
Mhm.
working towards that goal, um, I initially was rejected. That was a scary moment. But I think even my messaging, it wasn't entirely clear that I'm not reselling, product. It's my own original design. So I had to really think about it, put myself in the customer's shoes. And I think that was actually another blessing in disguise of, looking back at my messaging and saying, is it really clear what my
Mhm.
pieces are? You build a brand and you become so entrenched in your own messaging that you lose sight of what does someone that's looking at this for the very first time think. And
Yeah.
Kickstarter and having to put together your whole Kickstarter campaign with video, and messaging in the video, visual messaging, and then, your verbal messaging.
Mhm.
It really is an exercise of asking that question and refining that. So,
So on that topic, we love to use chat.
yes.
We love Chat
Chat is my
GPT.
friend.
Chat is my assistant 24/7,
Yeah.
personal things,
Yes.
I mean, business stuff. So it's constantly like, what do you think? Well, let's ask Chat, but let's
Yeah.
ask it this way. Let's see what it comes up with. And one thing I noticed, and I think it happens to a lot of people to bring it up, is you will ask Chat GPT a prompt and it'll give you the most amazing paragraph about your business. It just, you're like, oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
painting the picture of exactly what was in my head,
Yeah.
but it was saying everything, but it was telling me nothing.
Yes.
It was
That's tough.
describing the feeling, the this, the that. But then when we like reread, even like your
Wait a minute.
pre-launch, wait
Yeah.
a minute, we're not even talking, we're talking about the product at the end.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think it's great for helping you get started. But then when you're reading it as like a live human being, ChatGPT isn't going to buy an ISAMAR dress.
No. Although I
Or
wish they would.
I wish they would, because there's definitely
Yeah,
going to be a
they're
lot
my
more,
fans, so yeah.
a lot more AI
Yeah.
bots. But okay, what is a real person? Is it like, what is this? Oh, it's a feeling. No, it's a product that solves a
Yeah.
solution. So
Yes.
we were like, okay, what are we selling? And then we realigned what chat was helping us with. And made the product become the star, always bringing the product to the top. I'm not going to wait for someone to read all the way to the bottom of my page to know what I'm even selling, because they're going to be gone by
Right.
that time.
Yeah, and it's easy, especially as the brand owner, to get lost in that aspirational language because
So
it's
easy.
beautiful. It's, pulling on your heartstrings, which is part of why you're creating the brand. And you're like, wait a minute, this is not what my customer needs to hear first. They
Or
need
they're
to
going
know.
to care about.
Or, yeah, they're not as invested in my brand.
Listen,
No one's as invested as I
For
am.
someone who built a brand fully on my culture and my family and that look, I would say now looking back at things, like I had a 23 years in the swimwear industry. Probably 90% of people did not care.
No, they just want a good product.
They want a good product. And they're like, that's cute. I want that. Ooh, she does this, the problem that I'm, like I'm looking for that solution. I don't want to have my hips pinched. That's what I want to buy. But then I'm here but it's about Cuba and I go to Cuba every year. And like that filled up my cup.
Exactly.
But when you're marketing and you're selling, it's not about filling up your cup. It's, does your customer care and are they going to buy it?
Yeah. And sometimes they don't even, they're not aligning with it. And that's what's been so helpful in working with you. And that's exactly what I needed, was that realignment to what do you need to really market. And as someone that doesn't come from a marketing background, I really needed to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I still need that reminder of going back to that problem solution.
And even if you are in I get stuck doing this too. It's someone to see where your blind spots are.
Absolutely.
We all have blind spots. And if you're not able to notice it because you're here in like visionary area, you just need someone, hey, like let's take a right over here and a left over here to get to where we need to be so people understand what you're selling. And we overcomplicate things because that's just who we are.
Right.
That's just who we are. And it's lovely. And I've done beautiful things with my brand because of the story, but that wasn't bringing the revenue in.
No, it's just a piece.
It was creating beautiful opportunities and documentary and all this amazing things that happen with it. And it's part of your marketing, but it's not the full piece.
No.
It's about marketing the stuff. So what do you think has been the biggest hurdle for Kickstarter? Because I feel like there's a lot of layers to Kickstarter. Like when you're like, wow, I'm like, it looks done to me. When you're on one of our calls, I'm like, wow, this looks great. You're like, no, I still have to do this. And I realize, okay, you still have a little bit more work ahead of you. So what was like the biggest challenge?
The bulk of the work was preparing my story. Honestly, that took a lot of time, including preparing for the photo and video shoot, coming up with that storyline I wanted the video to tell. And, when you look at Kickstarter projects, these are very legitimate brands and products that spend a lot of time and money. And, I'm on the smaller end of the scale, but just putting that story together and telling that story took a lot of work, so much more than I ever anticipated it would. And then, like I mentioned, hitting that, rejection and then having to go back through and getting reapproved. So those I'd say were the biggest hurdles of getting it ready to go. And now it's the hurdle of making sure that I have a strong enough marketing strategy as I quickly approach the launch.
Let's touch upon just a few more things as we wrap this up. But your strategy now for Kickstarter, you're not just selling the blue print.
No,
what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to have some stretch goals. So for my first release, it will include the blue Otomi print and then our Papagayo Tropical print, which is the peach colored bird print right here. So the women's dresses and the matching swimsuits will be included, as well as our travel wrap and then our bag. But I do have another plan up my sleeve. So I have a stretch goal to release our mini collection. So that includes our girls matching swimwear and cover-ups. So they match the prints, and you can see some sneak peeks hanging here. As you know, I have 2 daughters, and so incorporating them into the brand was really important to me. And also our give back component is related to children. So I did want to have that full circle moment of having the mini collection.
I love it. And again, you tested the first. You
Yes.
saw what the response was going to be. And I liked that you didn't release the whole collection because it created like, ooh, but I want the peach
Yeah.
one. Well, then you have to wait and there'll be a whole other, type of promotion around that. So I think it's giving people like you're still doing another launch,
Yeah.
but now you're offering something new and different that's going to be special, and you still can't get the kids until you hit your stretch goal.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
something for everybody as a community to really help you get. And if it doesn't get the response that you want, are you going to be okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to be disappointed, as anyone who puts so much work into it, but I know I'm not going to give up and I'll
Mhm.
find another way to do it. And
Yeah.
and I think going through that soft launch process gave me the confidence that if I need to, go through and release my other two colorways separately and then release the mini collection separately, I know I can do it. It's
Mhm.
just going to look a little bit different. And I do see value in the Kickstarter no matter what. I'm hoping no matter what happens, I think it's going to be successful. But if for some reason it's not, I know I'm going to build more momentum and gain more following. So I think it's still worth it no matter what happens.
One thing I want to add is that you started with 0 followers.
Yes.
When we first. And up until your soft launch, if I remember correctly, I think you grew it to around, was it under 200 or around 200?
Under 200.
So your soft launch, maybe you were around 100.
Yep. A little like 175 area.
Yeah, 175. Okay,
Yeah.
so the myth that you need thousands and thousands and thousands of followers to launch your brand is not true.
No, it's not.
I believe your secret sauce was having a goal, having a really great offer, and having not an endless sale, like an endless launch. It was having when it starts and when it ends, and that pressure to buy.
Yes.
How many sales would you say came in on the first day?
There was a pretty big rush on the first day of people that were, had their timers ready, my close friends and family that wanted to buy right away. So that happened. And then it kind of slowed down in the middle. And then I ended up extending it and I had a big rush like right before I closed. So I do think that finite time period, you're going to get your people that are timer set, ready to go. And then you're going to get the people like, oh, I want to get my order in before it's too late. So
if I remember correctly, Sunday, so you opened Friday and then Sunday you were at like 5 or 6,000, something like that. And I could hear it. You thought it was over.
I did. I didn't think I could get any more orders.
And I said, nope, we're going to extend the sale. It was supposed to end that night. And I said, extend it till Monday and send them like, ooh, surprise.
Yes.
And that's when the rest of the orders came in.
And I'm so grateful I extended it and just had that little bonus time because I think I was telling you earlier that I underestimated, for me, 5 days of a launch felt like a long time, and I'm pushing out a lot of email content and social media content, but in other people's lives, they're busy. They're doing things. They're not just hanging, at the edge of their seat ready to order.
So true. So they're catching maybe 1 or 2 of your messages.
Yep.
And then they're like, maybe I'll buy, but I'm going to have a reminder. Then the reminder goes back, they're going to forget about it.
Exactly.
So you didn't get discouraged and you like crushed it. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Where can somebody find you, like on Instagram and on your website?
Yeah, so my website is www.isamarcollection.com, and my Instagram handle is ISAMAR, ISAMAR_collection.
Woo!
So follow along, and please, anyone that's interested in my Kickstarter journey.
Yes. Do you search just ISAMAR collection on Kickstarter?
Yes, and I'll come up as a project coming soon. So you can even find me on there, or you can sign up for my email list on my website. So
we'll definitely have to have a follow-up of how you did on Kickstarter. The good, the bad, the ugly. We're not gonna gatekeep here.
Okay, no, I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Monica, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Nicole. It's just such an amazing full circle moment. So thank you.
All right. So for anyone else that's out there and listening or watching this on YouTube, our new video is up. Go check out more information on fashionbizmentor.com. Bye.